My dear friend, welcome back to another Blender to Microsoft Flight Simulator tutorial, and in today's video I wanted to show you how to make an object that moves along a specific path and also can cut the grass, which can be handy, spring, isn't it? Of course, you can use this method not only for a tractor but also for I would say an airport vehicle, or maybe a drone, or maybe in near your airport you have some trains and you want to animate that, or maybe a boat. So let's see what we need to make this. So first of all, we need a model to be animated, and go to my friend Google here, and I'm gonna search for a tractor 3D model, and I'm gonna pick maybe the first result here, and this is the tractor that I'm using. It is a free object, a nice model from the guy, it is Sanal Baghora, and you can download it for free and use it for free even in payware product. So let's download this, and of course you need an account. Here it's free, and I'm gonna save this in my download folder and open it. And inside this we have the texture, and we have also an FBX and a OBJ. So I'm gonna unzip this, and then I'm gonna import this into the Blender. So get rid of the default cube file, import. I'm gonna go with the OBJ here from the download folder. Here it is, tractor.obj. Okay, and zooming, I can see that the tractor has been imported. So I'm gonna grab this and move it to the middle of my scene. This can be okay, but let's move this here. Okay, I'm gonna switch to the texture if the texture got imported. Well, no, they didn't. So for this material, I'm gonna use the MFS standard material. I'm gonna select the texture that comes with the tractor, and here it is. The texture pretty ready to be used. Okay, so actually, let's see how big the structure is. So we can take the ruler, and it is 125 meters long, which is pretty much too big for a normal tractor. And this is pretty common with the object you download from the internet. They have the scale off, or maybe some strange rotation, and we need to have the I have click the N panel, the letter N on my keyboard, and we need to zero the rotation and also have the scale at 1, but also the location should be 0, and also the dimension of the object should be the one that the real one. So I'm gonna press scale. Oh, okay, maybe I'm gonna put the origin of the object to the 3D cursor, so it is here, and I'm gonna scale it down. So its dimension are the real one. So this is 4 meters long now, by now. I mean, yeah, it is 6.31. And press Ctrl A, apply all transform. Select the object, Ctrl A to apply all transform. So scale is 1, rotation is 0, location is 0. Is now 6.3 meters, and this tractor is a John Deere. So let's Google the right dimension for the tractor, and this looks like to be maybe 5 meters long. So it's still a little bit too. It's a little bit too big, so I can scale it down. Yeah, scale it. Okay, so this should be nice. Ctrl A, apply all transform, and bring back to 0. Okay, Control A, apply all transform. So the dimension of the tractor now are okay, but the tractor is all in one piece. So if I want to move the tractor, I can move it, but I can move the wheels of the tractor separately. I can turn the wheels of the tractor. So I have to separate them from the main model. And to separate them, I go to Edit Mode. I click on the wheel. I'm going to press L to select all the elements that are connected. And this is the wheel. So I'm going to press P to separate P, like Papa, to separate this selection. And this selection will be wheel left, wheel forward dot L is left. And I'm gonna do the same thing for this wheel, P to separate the selection, and this will be wheel forward dot right, and the same for the rear ones. And then we have the main structure of the tractor and also the wheels. We want the glass of the tractor being another material, so I'm gonna select them. I'm gonna add a new material, and I'm gonna call that glass, and this will be an MFS glass. Okay, and the properties of this MF glass are all the property of the glass itself are all inside the base color, pretty much all inside the base color. So the alpha, that is the transparency, and is here. The color, this is pretty dark one, so let's make like this. And also we need to go down with the roughness, and the roughness of glass is 0.02 maybe. Okay, and I want to apply the new material to the surface. Okay, now we have no interior, so we need to create the seat of the tractor, the cockpit of the tractor if we want to see through. But this is not the reason of this tutorial. This is not the scope of this tutorial, because we want the tractor to be moving. And to make this moving, I'm gonna create a point where all the other stuff of the tractor will be attached. So I'm gonna be object mode, and I'm gonna add an empty, and this is the empty, and I'm gonna call this tractor main. And to this tractor main, I'm gonna select the object I wanna parent. I'm gonna shift click the parent, and I Control P to parent the object to the main. So when I move the main, the other stuff will move along with the main. And also I want to parent the wheels to the main structure, because the wheels are children of the main structure. So I'm gonna click them, shift click, Control P, parent to object, and also for the other, Control P, parent to object, this one, Control P, parent to object, Control P, and parent to object. So when I move the structure, all the wheels gonna move, and when I move the parent, all the structure gonna move, but I can move the wheel separated from each other. Now we need to do the wheel animation, and it's a very basic animation, but to do this we need to put the origin of each wheel at the center of the wheel. How to do this? Pretty basic. I'm gonna select the middle of the wheel, Shift S, cursor to select it, and it's like in the middle. Yeah, pretty much like in the middle. And right object mode, we are in object mode, right click, set origin to 3D cursor, and now the origin is to the 3D cursor. So if we rotate along the x-axis, we can see that the wheel is gonna rotate. Let's do the same thing for the other wheel. can be more precise with the placement, but again, this is not needed for this tutorial. Now we need to make an animation of the wheel, and the wheel gonna rotate in how does a wheel rotate? Maybe when it's going forward, it's gonna have to rotate forward this direction. Is it? Oh, okay, let's Google it. When moving forward, the wheels rotate counterclockwise. Okay, pretty much there. We are pretty much there. So I'm gonna go to the animation tab here. I like to see the texture, and I have selected the forward left wheel, and I'm gonna insert a keyframe, a rotation keyframe in this case. This rotation keyframe, well, will be, I don't know, maybe 50 frame long. 70 frame long could be okay. And I'm gonna insert another location keyframe. Then I wanna rotate this by 360 degrees. Forward, yeah, 359 degrees here. Insert a rotation keyframe. So if we move forward, the wheel is gonna rotate forward. Fantastic. So let's give this an interpolation mode linear. And if we play the animation, the wheel will spin. Great. Let's go to the action editor here. Oh, let's here, action editor. And this will be wheel rotation. And I'm gonna push down this animation. And you know what? All the wheels are rotate pretty much in the same way. So we can select the wheel rotation also for this and push this one, and the wheel rotation also for this and push the one, and the wheel rotation also for this and push this down. So when we play the animation, all the wheels are rotating. That's splendid. Let's go to the non-linear animation here, and we're gonna give this all wheel underscore rotation name. Okay, so now that we have done with the rotating animation, we can create a path so we can move the tractor, the wheel tractor, along that path. And to create a path, you can create it manually, and you need to make a shape for this path. So I'm gonna hide the tractor here and press H to hide, and at the origin of the word I'm gonna add plane, edit mode, vertex mode, merge at center, so I have only one vertices, and now I can extrude the vertices EY by say 100 meters and EX by 30 meters and EY minus 100 meters and EX minus 30 meters. So I have created a simple path. So let's merge. Oh yeah, so we can merge this because we have two vertices. And now I'm gonna select all the point, Ctrl Shift B, so we can bevel. With the scroll wheel mouse we can reduce the number of bevel because we want the tractor to follow a smooth curve when it turns. This is a mesh, and we want to convert this to a curve. We can unhide the tractor, and then let's begin the magic. So we select the tractor main, we select the empty of the tractor, and we're gonna add an object constraint here, and will be a follow path, and as a target of our path we're gonna select our curve here. And now I'm gonna click follow curve and animate path. So the tractor gone right here to the path. If you click play, the tractor will follow the path. This is pretty pretty fast because this is 100 meters long, and to solve this you can go to the path here, and in its curve properties you can see that there is a path animation, and in the frames I'm gonna give this maybe 2000 frame. So now if we play the animation, the tractor is gonna follow the path accordingly. Sweet. Okay, so this is one method of doing this, and while animating the tractor in its object constraint, you can see that there's a forward axis, and maybe you can have your object flipped, and if we change the forward axis or the up axis, the tractor will be following the curve in the right direction. Okay, so let's see another method to create the curve, and this involves an add-on that is called OSM, blender-osm, and Google Earth. Let's see how to do this. So now we are in Google Earth, I'm going to use the path tool here, and I'm going to click wherever I want a point of my path. Remember that you can use to move here the WASD key, and when I'm satisfied, I'm going to click OK, and I'm going to save this. Yep. Everywhere on my PC as Tractor Leniago. So Google Earth export a KML file, and we need another tool to convert this to a GPX file, to a GPX track. I'm going to use the GPS visualizer. Convert a file. I want the output to be a GPX, and my input file will be the Tractor Leniago. Press convert. It's pretty fast. Sorry about and save. Then we're gonna import this into the Blender, and to import that, I'm gonna use the blender-osm add-on, which is here. And you can put it a nice amount or even 0, and please click play, and this will give you a zip file to install in Blender. It's free. Yeah, you can pay this 0, so if you see this 0 or more, and if you like the add-on, you can pay again, donate to the Pro Architecture user. So go back into the Blender, and we can install the add-on the usual way. So edit preferences, install, and in downloads, I'm gonna select the zip Blender Home and install the add-on and activate it. And the add-on is here in the N panel. And to import it to the track, you're gonna do this. In this panel here, I'm gonna select GPX and import. Well, I'm gonna set the file here, accept, and import the GPX file. And here is the track that we have just created in Google Earth, and then GPS visualizer that is ready to be animated. I want the origin of this track to the word origin, so I'm gonna go in edit mode. And let's merge this. So this is a curve, and we want it to be an object, and convert it to a mesh, and go to edit mode and merge this at center. Like we have done with the manual created path, we can go in edit mode, select all, Ctrl Shift B, and now all the edges are smoothed. Perfect. And the origin of this is here, that is in the rear of the runway. Edit mode, Shift S, cursor to select it, and I'm gonna go to the set origin, origin to 3D cursor, and now I want to move this to 0. Okay, so the scale is 1, rotation is 0, and rotation is 0. Great. And now we can convert this to a curve. And like we have already done before, I deleted the previous constraint. So go to the Constraint tab, add an object constraint, follow path, select the new path, follow curve, and animate the path. Okay, it's moving along the path pretty fast, pretty damn fast. So we select the track here and we make this maybe 10,000 frames, which make this speed here. Also, the length of our animation will be 10,000. Start. It's gonna be 0. And to export this animation, this is not in the dope sheet. As you can see, there is no data here in the action editor because we need to bake this animation. And to bake the animation, we need to select the empty here, the tractor main, go to Object, Animation, and we're gonna click Bake Action. And we're gonna bake the whole action, so from 0 to 10,000, we have no bones here, so it doesn't matter. We can click Visual Keying, we can clear the constraints, just remove the constraint we have added before, and then we can click OK. Let's make Blender do its thing. It's 10,000 frames that is gonna be baked, so it takes maybe 10 to 20 seconds. And now we have a bunch of keyframes here, and every keyframe has a location and a rotation inside it. It is also a scale that we don't need, so we can. I'm in the action editor here, Dove Sheet action editor, and if we right scale, this is not needed, but I take away a bit of space here from the file, and the scale is not needed. As you can see, the tractor is moving. So this action is gonna be tractor moving. I'm gonna push down in the NLA editor. And there it is, an action for the tractor main. I'm gonna call this tractor moving. Okay, now we are good to export our object. So let's save, maybe let's save this file here in our model lib package sources, because even this object is moving, is a static object, is a simple scenario object. And then I'm gonna call this LIDL tractor tutorial and save. And then I go to the export settings. Yeah, this will be LIDL tutorial. Okay, there's another thing that I forgot to tell to you, and we have an object that is moving, but the origin of the object for Flight Simulator will stay always in the same place. Okay, so when the object is away from the camera, will disappear. So we should make it bigger. We select the object, go into edit mode, and add a cube here and scale it. And scale it. And scale it. Big cube, a big object that will take a bit of time to disappear. Of course, we don't want the texture of the tractor here, so I'm gonna add a new material to this, the sign. That is gonna be our hide material, or invisible, hide invisible. And will be an MFS invisible material. Here it is. Let's make the alpha to 0. And also the alpha here to 0. Okay. So you can see that the cube is moving along with our object. Okay, great. So I'm going to generate an XML for this. I will write the UID. The folder will be the LIDL Tractor tutorial and accept. And I'm going to click export. We now have the LIDL Tractor tutorial with its XML. Now we need to add the 2 lines for the animation. And one animation is tractor moving, and the other animation is wheel rotation. Of course, remember to give each animation its own UID. Now we can save, compile this, and of course I'm going to use the trusty FS package tool, and then go into Microsoft Flight Simulator and try our new moving object. So now I've loaded up my scenery. And now I can go to the pause simulation because the object will be moving and it's gonna be pretty hard to position. And go to the object and search for the whole tractor, whole LIDL tractor tutorial, add to the scene. And here is the object. So the first position of the object is gonna be right there. Yeah, and now if we resume the simulation, you can see that the tractor is now doing its stuff, is now playing the animation. Let's save the scenery. But we want to cut the grass. This is the promise that I made at the beginning of the video, and it's pretty simple. So let's go back in Blender, and we can add an object here. I'm gonna do maybe like this. The modeling, yeah. We can add Shift S cursor to select it and add a cube. And I want this cube to be just a little bit above the ground. This cube should never touch the ground. This will be enough. Yeah, yes. And I'm gonna parent this to the empty. Ctrl P, parent to object, so when we move the empty, also this thing moves. And to this, I'm gonna add a new material, and this new material will be a special MFS material. Can I click this here? Yes. And this is gonna be an environment occluder. Here it is. Now, if we export this, now in the back of the tractor, the grass has been cut. Well, of course I don't want this to be here in the back of the tractor. It's just a simple trick, but it is a very handy object that I have made before. This is just a simple cube, and you can cut grass with this. You can have the grass at the height you want, but remember, you don't want this to go below the ground, because when out of the dev mode, this will create a huge black hole in your scenery. Okay, so I hope you have liked this tutorial, and if you haven't already, please subscribe, and let's see you in the next tutorial. Bye bye.